When did you realize your family's expectations were impossible to meet? The night I graduated medical school summa cum laude, and my parents' first words weren't congratulations, but disappointment that I hadn't also gotten into their preferred residency program. And I finally understood that no achievement would ever be enough because the goalpost would always move just out of reach. This happened after 8 years of pre-med and medical school, where I'd sacrificed everything to make my parents proud of their immigrant daughter, who they saw as their ticket to the American dream. My parents had come to America with nothing and built a successful life through pure determination and endless work at multiple jobs to support our family. They expected me to honor their sacrifice by becoming the perfect doctor, perfect daughter, and perfect representation of their success story in this country. Throughout college, I maintained a 4.0 GPA while working part-time to help pay for school and volunteering at free clinics on weekends. When I got into medical school, they said it wasn't prestigious enough and I should have tried harder for Harvard or Johns Hopkins instead. During medical school, I studied 18 hours a day, graduated at the top of my class, and received multiple academic honors and research awards. I matched into internal medicine at a respected teaching hospital, but it wasn't the competitive surgery program they'd wanted me to pursue. At my graduation ceremony, I expected them to finally acknowledge that their daughter had succeeded beyond most people's wildest dreams. Instead, my mother's first words were, "Why didn't you get into surgery? Dr. Chen's son got into surgery at a better hospital than yours." My father added, "We sacrificed everything for you to be average. This residency won't lead to the income we expected from our investment." I stood there in my graduation gown, holding my diploma, realizing that nothing I accomplished would ever satisfy them or earn their approval. Their expectations weren't based on my potential or happiness. They were based on competing with other immigrant families and their children's achievements. I wasn't their daughter, I was their trophy, and I'd never shine bright enough to reflect the image they wanted to project to their community. The pressure had been building for years, but that moment crystallized how futile my efforts had always been to earn unconditional love. Every A+ needed to be an A+ with extra credit. Every honor required a bigger honor. Every success demanded an even greater success to prove I was worthy. That night, I called my mentor, Dr. Williams, who reminded me that I'd become a doctor to help people, not to fulfill someone else's unfulfilled dream. She helped me understand that my parents' criticism came from their own trauma and fear, but that didn't make it my responsibility to fix. The next day, I started therapy to learn how to set boundaries and define success for myself instead of chasing approval I'd never received. I learned that loving my parents didn't mean destroying myself trying to meet impossible standards that would shift every time I got close. My therapist helped me realize that their conditional love was rooted in their own fear of failure and need to prove their worth through my accomplishment. It took years to unlearn the voice in my head that said I wasn't good enough and to replace it with my own definition of success and fulfillment. Now I work at a community health clinic helping underserved patients, and I've never been happier with my career choice despite earning less money. Sometimes loving your family means accepting that their love comes with conditions you'll never be able to meet and choosing to love yourself anyway.